in our community. With the Salvation Army and going back to the kettles and going back to Christmas time and stuff like that, knowing that that's behind us now, one of the big things is how in the world do you get by after January or the month of January?
Well, we have to hold a lot of surplus. That's usually what we do during the summer months. Spring is very heavy. We get a lot of donations in spring because of spring cleaning and things like that. So we try to then put that away for these slow months. This year, I think we'll do better than last year. Last year, we really had an issue with making sure we had enough to get us through, because after January 1st, donations drop off until spring cleaning. So it's almost like a squirrel, you know, that's got to store his nuts. I mean, we have to store a lot of clothing, and it's really hard in our warehouse space to hold that much. So it's important for us then during those months, January, February, March, April, that we really have to do a lot of work to receive enough donations to keep the funding going. And another thing that comes into play, like I say, is the boxes that are out there. It makes it harder then for us to make sure that we maintain what we've historically over the years didn't have an issue with. Now we do.
Okay. So let me just say this. As you're watching the program today and you know that the Salvation Army is always there to give a hand to those less fortunate in our community, in those months, whether it be January, February, March, or April, if you've got something extra that you want to do, you want to send a check. Checks are always accepted, I would believe.
Oh, yeah.
How would they, or who would they make the checks out to, and where should they go?
Checks, if they're made out to the Salvation Army, and somebody wants to just give to the Salvation Army to help the Salvation Army's mission in the greater Erie area, they would just be made out to the Salvation Army. They would go to the Core Community Center.
Okay. So you will accept those or cash or any other items. The challenge that I have for the people of Millcreek Township today is this. A lot of people that are going to churches, and I'm going to ask the captain right now, if the churches were to get together and they wanted to do something where people in the community or people in the church community wanted to bring everything and have a collection center at their church at one given time, you have the capability of being able to pick that stuff up at any church?
Any church, yeah, in the area, anytime. They could contact me directly.
Okay.
And I would be able to work that out. The other thing, too, is even with businesses, a lot of times in the past I've worked with even major corporations where they had a Salvation Army Day where the employees would bring their clothing to work, and we would have a truck there in the morning, and then on their way in they could just load it in a truck, or we could set up a box there for a short period of time, a donation collection bin, and they could put that in, and then we could come back and then take the box away if they didn't want it to stay. However, I also would always welcome any local business that would allow us to place a donation bin on their property as well.
And just so you know, those businesses that may be watching or you're watching and you say, geez, I do own a business, there are some new rules and regulations in Millcreek Township, and we'd be more than willing to help you with that. But those boxes are legal. You can't put them out. There's no permit for the Salvation Army because it is a nonprofit organization. So we do allow those in Millcreek Township. So if you have a business and you'd like a box, get a hold of Mark, let him know where those boxes can be placed. Check with our zoning office to make sure that they're in the right place and proper place, so that you're not taken away from traffic or hindering traffic. We don't want it unsafe. We want them in safe places. I think the big thing is that, again, with the challenge to the people that are watching, a lot of people going to church, knowing that that church may want to do something special, have a collection day, knowing now that you will go to the church and pick up that stuff there, or like you said, if there's a business out there that wants to, I don't think it's restricted to March, April, May, June, July.
No, we need it year round.
Year round.
Because even like I say, in those spring months when we are having the donations come in, we need enough so that we are putting away for the next winter. So it's a constant thing. I mean, we're always it always seems like we're a little bit behind, and we just need to get beyond that so that we can, you know, and it comes down to service too. I mean, there's so many more things that we could add to our program if the funding was there.
Okay, so if you're watching and you want, as a business, to have a truck either set up right outside your business and coordinate that so that people that are coming to work or the public sees it and they want to come and donate something, get a hold of Mark and set something up. If you're a church or an organization that really wants to help and you know that this is a good cause, then please challenge those other members in your church or organization to have a day dedicated, or a week or a month dedicated to collect items at your church or business, and collect them, and then also contact the Salvation Army through Mark, and they'll come and pick that stuff up. So we can help out with those things that are going on in the community through the Salvation Army. Anything that we missed that you want to go over?
I think we kind of went right past the program. That's the whole reason why we collect the clothing.
Okay.
I'm a graduate of the program. As of next month, I'll have 19 years clean, so I know how well the program works. I also know that there's families out there that have a father or a son, a husband that's dealing with the things in life that they just can't seem to get beyond, and we're there for them.
Is it, and I don't want to interrupt you, but is it just drugs, or are there other issues that, you know, someone watching says, geez, you know, I can't get my son motivated to do things? Is that something that you guys work with?
Yeah, it would depend on what their issues are. There's certain limitations, certain legal issues that someone might have, certain mental issues that someone might have that we might not be able to handle at our location. But we also, if somebody calls us and they don't meet the criteria, you know, fit the criteria, we can always then refer them somewhere else. But I know, like, what my parents went through when I was in an active addiction, and to be able to have a place like the Salvation Army to go to get my life back together meant probably a whole lot for them at the time, and it still does, and it means a lot to me now at the time. So, like, I just hate to know that we have empty beds and there's people that need our services.
So the people then that are watching, and if there's someone that's watching and says, geez, I just can't break this addiction, whether it's drugs or whatever else, I guess a phone call doesn't hurt?
Doesn't hurt one bit. 1-800-SA-TRUCK is the 1-800 number. The local number is, of course, 814-456-4237.
Okay, we'll have that number up for you so that you can grab that. But I guess the thing is, if you don't know, call. And there's always help through the Salvation Army. Do these people actually, once you've evaluated them and you've sat down and talked to them, and the program, you say it does fit, do they normally stay there? Do they go home?
They stay. It's a long-term program. It takes at least 6 months to really work through the program. It's a phase program. The first phase is really just understanding how you ended up in this situation and why you're there. Then there's a lot of maintenance, actually, you know, taking a look at how you got to that point, and what you need to do to overcome those obstacles for the future. And then in phase 4, it's more of a reintegration phase where we help them take a look at work on the outside, help them find, you know, a good job, paying full-time job, and maybe a safe place to live, other than just going out somewhere, you know, that they're on their own. So that way, by the time they graduate, they have a good, strong, firm foundation.
So from start to finish, they make the phone call. You sit down with them, do an evaluation, get them plugged into the program. Do they all stay there, or is there a choice?
In-house.
It's in-house, so they would be staying there. You deal with whatever the problem is that they have, and then not only do you deal with that problem, but then when they start graduating and start moving through it, I understand that you've got a job opportunity. You go out and look for jobs for these people.
They have the opportunity to go out and look for jobs. Sometimes we end up hiring them, you know, right in-house.
So then with with them finding a job then, and even transportation, so that the people understand and so that I understand. You get someone that comes in, they have a problem. You're dealing with that problem. You're helping them to be able to be a productive back into the community once again. The job situation, whether you find something, try to find something, they find something, you work with them to try to get them established back into the community. And then with transportation, does the Salvation Army then also help them get to and get back from?
Well, it depends. It's kind of iffy with that. You don't want to carry somebody too much, because then when they have to deal with it on their own, it's kind of a shock. So we try to help them to go out on their own and to do these things. But in some cases, if there's some travel to it, we help them.
Okay. So it's from the beginning to the end. No matter what happens, they can actually call your office. And it may be just a minor thing, but a phone call to
You might just need a little direction.
It might be. And with that being said, they can go from one extreme to the other extreme, but it's an evaluation process as to what you can do for them and get them back into the community so that everything is working in one accord.
Yep, that's what it's about, getting, like I said, somebody's brother back, somebody's father back, somebody's son back to their family. I tell my guys all the time, I said, look, you want to stay and you want to work through this. It might not be easy, but your family deserves the person you can be.
And they deserve to be all that they can be also.
Right.
I know that our time is getting very short. I got our signal. We only have 5 minutes left. We've covered some things. I know that we could keep on going. I just want to leave you a couple minutes. Is there something that you would like to say? Number one, donations are very important so that you can continue to help those people in the community. It's a program for men, though, correct?
Well, our center is for men, but we have centers that are they have women in the centers as well. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we would then refer women to the other centers. If they wanted to come into a Salvation Army, we would refer them to another center, whether it be Harrisburg or another one of the centers. There's a few in Ohio. There's a few in New York, Syracuse.
Okay, so not only men, but women and those that are less fortunate. Salvation Army is there, willing to help. Is there anything that you'd like to say in the last couple of minutes that we have?
The one thing I wanted to say is, if you have somebody that has a substance abuse issue, don't give up. You might not want to enable them by helping them in their active addiction, but you don't want to give up. Prayer goes a long way. You want to be praying for those people, and you want to reach out to organizations like ours that are there to help them. I know from personal experience that the program works. The funding for that program, as I said, the Adult Rehabilitation Center at 12th and Sassafras relies 100% on the collection, processing, and resale of donated goods. Clothing is a big need. So if you want to help somebody, clothing is the way to go. Clothing and shoes. If you have somebody that needs help, have them give me a call at the 1-800-SA-TRUCK number or the 814-456-4237.
Okay. With that, I would just like to say thank you for coming and being a part
Joe.
of our program today.
I appreciate it.
For those of you that are watching, it is a serious problem. Drugs, alcohol, whatever the case may be. If you know somebody, please don't just sit there and say, I wish I would have called. Please call. Let them know. Call the Salvation Army. The number will be on your screen. Let them know. Hope that you can reach out to that person to give them hope. And if you can donate your clothing, shoes, whatever the case may be, please do so. And I challenge the churches and also the businesses in our community to do something to help the Salvation Army this year. Thank you for watching. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you.